Gun live stream. Today is Saturday, August 1st, 2026. As usual, we'll give it a few minutes for people to join and we'll get started. Hope you guys are having a better day as far as the weather goes. It's crappy and rainy here in Tennessee today. All right, and we have a few people starting to join now. We'll give it another minute or so. Mike, where are you, Mike? Hey, Karen, thanks for joining. Hey, Mike, thanks for joining, brother. Duke is on his way to North Carolina this morning, so he may not join us. Fortunately, we do have other moderators to help out. And Mike, did you get that holster straightened out? Hey, Barclay, thanks for joining, brother. Well, fortunately, my moderators do a great job of kicking the liberals back into their parents' basement, so works out very well. Wouldn't be able to do this live stream without them. Hey, Dale, welcome. Thanks for joining. It's a crappy rainy day today here in Tennessee. Not a good day to be at an outdoor range. All right, now that we have some people on, I have a couple items to discuss as far as gun news goes. Oh, good for you, Barclay. Yeah, you know the problem that you have there, Mike, is that as soon as you start putting a light on a holster, changes everything, and that's why I have said many, many times I just really don't believe in having a weapon light on your handgun for a lot of reasons. They have to make the holster wider, um, leaves more room for crap to get stuck in there. All right, well, that's good, Dale. As long as you can be listening, you can also watch the stream later. I like to know everybody's opinion on this because I'm kind of I'm kind of up in the air. 2 years ago in Georgia, this teenager brought his AR-15 to school and shot people. I believe he killed two students and teachers. And a couple of days ago, they just charged his father with murder and sentenced him to 15 years in prison. The judge said that he um, failed as a parent and he should have seen the warning signs. Well, I think murder is a little tough. Um, I think a suspended sentence um, would have gotten the message across. Um, Seems to be a thing now where they're charging parents, and I get there's a lot of things they should charge parents with, but he bought his son an AR-15 for Christmas, and the kid used the gun and he shot and killed people. Well, as a parent, you don't know what your kid is going to do when they walk out the door. And I'm not so sure that his father deserved to be charged with murder. Um, I highly doubt that his father would have given him an AR-15 if he knew he was going to kill people. Um, when I was a kid and my dad taught me how to shoot, my father kept his firearms in the garage in a cabinet that kind of looked like a kitchen cabinet. There were no locks on it. He didn't have any safety locks on the guns or anything. And it never even occurred to me to take his guns and bring them to school or anywhere for that matter. So I guess by today's standards, my dad would have been considered a negligent parent. But back then, I guess it was different with kids. You just knew not to touch it. Um, and when I was 17 and I started driving, um, my dad used to uh, let me take his gun to the gun range. And we had very simple rules. You take the gun to the range, you go shooting, and then you come right home. Um, and I just followed that. And if this was today's times, that would also be considered to be a negligent parent. So I don't know where that went wrong. Yeah, I agree with that, Bart Clay. Um, but I'm kind of torn. I mean, the parent does um, bear a certain amount of responsibility, but I'd like to know what you all think. Um, do you think charging him with murder was fair? Do you think 15 years in prison is excessive? Uh, you know what, Barclay? We all are entitled to our own opinions. And as long as it doesn't get nasty or personal, um, I don't really care. Um, I have liberal friends that are gun owners. Um, we just don't discuss politics. Um, but like I said, I don't really care what people's views are. Um, People are entitled to their views just like I'm entitled to mine. And as long as we're respectful of that, and it doesn't get personal or nasty, I'm fine with that. Um, Maria, that is a great point, um, and I agree with that. Um, Guns are not the problem. mental health is a problem. And Thomas Williams, hello, thank you for joining. And Blobber Flop, yes, I do ride a Harley. All right, Barclay. See, now you're getting to be a horse's ass, so now I'm going to send you back in your mommy and daddy's basement. Blubber flop. I'm old now. I used to have an Electra Glide Limited, and 3 years ago we traded it in, and I got the Tri-Glide Ultra. And it basically came down to I wanted to do it on my terms. My wife does ride with me, and I didn't want us to be out in Colorado one day and not be able to hold up the bike and my wife on it. So we made the decision. Honestly, I'm glad. Sometimes it would come down to riding or not. Well, now that I have the trike, we ride. I don't worry about oil on the ground. Um, if it's raining, it's a lot easier to ride the trike. I mean, we used to live in New Jersey, and on the Garden State Parkway, um, the tolls are very, very slick when it rains because all the buses going to Atlantic City, all that oil comes off the ground. And when you put your feet down, um, there's a good possibility you're gonna slip. The other nice thing about having the trike, I don't have to worry about the graded bridges. I don't have to worry about gravel, and it's got reverse. So, uh, I've been riding for 50 years. I don't have anything to prove to anybody anymore. Um, and honestly, the trike was the best move because we're still able to ride. And now, when we go riding, um, I don't feel like I got the shit beat out of me. I could ride the trike all day long, and uh, it's extremely comfortable. So, anyway, it was a good decision for us. But anyway, before I get to the next topic, I really like to hear or see your comments on that Georgia father that was charged with murder and sentenced to 15 years in prison. I'm kind of torn about that. I mean, he does bear some responsibility, but I think charging him with murder and giving him 15 years in prison is a little harsh. It's bad enough he's never going to see his son again. Um, his son is going to be in prison for, the rest of his life. And now father's going away for 15 years. Hey, Big Louie. How you doing there, brother? Thanks for joining. Well, Big Louie, this is for you and all the New Jersey people. Was just doing our gun news segment. And in New Jersey, as you know there, Louie, the Third Circuit ruled that the AR-15 ban and the magazine restriction in New Jersey is unconstitutional. And I told you, and I told all the other people that I'm friends with in New Jersey, don't get too excited because you never know what's going to happen over there. Well, guess what? New Jersey now is asking for a stay. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether that's granted. Yeah, I agree, Louis. The Parkway was a no-no. I mean, it was horrible. You're on the Garden State Parkway in the rain, and um, if you didn't have Easy Pass and you had to stop at the toll booth and put your feet down. Yes, that's a good point there, uh, Friction. But he did buy his son the AR-15 for a Christmas present, which you know is not illegal. And down south, it's a common thing. I mean, there's kids get rifles down here for their christening. I mean, it's just how it is. People grow up with guns down here. I'm just not sure that his father should have been charged with murder. Um, the judge said he failed as a parent, and there were all kind of alarms going off, and his father didn't see it. Maybe there were, and he didn't see it, but um, I still don't believe that his father um, would have intentionally given his son a rifle if he knew he was going to kill people. Hey, Duke. Friction. That's a great point. It's like I was saying earlier. When I was a kid, and my dad taught me how to shoot. My dad kept his guns in a wooden cabinet in the garage, and they weren't locked. I could have easily taken his guns and brought them to school or taken them out. The thought never ever occurred to me to do that. And by today's standards, my dad would have been considered a negligent parent. But I never did anything with him. I did exactly what he said. Uh, like I said, when I started driving, he let me take it to the gun range, shoot, and then make sure I came right home and bring the gun home. And there was never a question or a thought, never even occurred to me to go to the garage and take one of his guns to school. Um, yeah, I agree, Friction. I see why manslaughter is a crime. I get it. But they charged the father with murder. And I just think charging him with murder in 15 years is a long time. Hey, Duke, glad you joined us. You're here from Jersey, just like Big Louie. Um, so everybody was getting all excited when the Third Circuit ruled that the AR-15 bans and the high-capacity mag bans were unconstitutional. And I told everybody, don't get too excited because uh, you never know what's going to happen in New Jersey. Well, New Jersey has decided to ask the courts for a stay until another case gets heard in October. So we don't know if they're going to hear it or when they're going to hear it. But like I always say, in New Jersey, nothing is ever final. You never know what you're going to get. We already know how corrupt the politicians are. I mean, look at the governor in New Jersey, right? 75,000 illegals were called to jury duty, and now they're estimating, hundreds of thousands of illegals. I didn't say the stay was granted, Lou. I said they asked for it. We don't know if they're going to even address that. I'm just saying that they asked for a stay, and like I always say, don't get too excited because we know how corrupt New Jersey is. I'm sorry, I apologize. Some of these comments go by very quickly. Hey, Clash, good day to you, and thanks for joining, brother. Well, you just don't know, Duke. Um, Louis and I have been friends for God a long time. Went to the same high school together, and we talk at least I don't know, Lou. We talk a couple times a week, And we're always talking about, how long this crap has been going on for 34 years with this magazine bullshit. Um, and now you got the illegals. And they're, they have the illegals here that are committing crimes, but yet they don't want us to have guns to protect ourselves. Um, but yes, the Second Amendment, in some states is virtually non-existent. Illinois, Fred Flintstone over there um, is a jackass. I agree, Duke. I mean, that's why the governor of New Jersey um, encouraged the riots at the detention center in Newark, because those are her constituents. And when Governor Murphy was in office, when Trump lost to Biden, he allowed people in jail to vote. Um, but anyway, I know a lot of friends of mine from New Jersey couldn't wait to go run out and buy uh, high capacity magazines. I'll get right to that in a minute, Kwani. Um, and I just knew this was going to happen. Just when you think that you're finally making progress, you take two steps back. And that's how it is in New Jersey. Um, Matter of fact, after the Braun case, people in New Jersey lost gun rights. All right, Kwame, is there any truth to Trump's potential national carry policy? Well, the only thing that's true is the bullshit talk. I've been hearing this bullshit for years now. I went to the NRA convention in Dallas 2 years ago, and he started talking about national reciprocity. Well, he doesn't have the authority to make that call, and he shouldn't be making promises he can't keep. And I know there's a Senator Lee in Utah, I believe, that's pushing for national reciprocity. But honestly, in our lifetime, never going to happen. The liberal states are never going to go along with it. Like Louis and I always say when we talk, um, you know, even when the Supreme Court rules, these liberal states still do what they want to do. They'll arrest you, and you're going to have to spend your own money on a lawyer to get a conviction overturned that should have never happened in the first place. And that's why the national reciprocity is never going to happen. You already have lunatic governors like that mental patient that's the governor in New York. All right, Louis, thanks, brother. Thanks for joining, and I will talk to you later. So that mental patient governor in New York, she ordered all of the sheriffs not to cooperate with ICE. Well, first of all, she's a dumbass because the sheriffs are elected officials. They don't report to the governor. They report to their constituents. So they can tell her to go pound salt because she has no authority over sheriffs. But she's such a dumbass. Again, you got the governor of Illinois, Fred Flintstone over there, him and the mayor. They should also be taken out of office. Duke, guess what I got today? I went to Smoky Mountain and I picked up my Ruger 1022 250th anniversary. And man, that engraving is just absolutely gorgeous. Um, I'll take pictures of it and I'll uh, post it later. Um, and then eventually I'll do a review on it. But here's my thought. When I picked it up, I agree with that, Maria. That's what they do. They're doing the same thing in the US. But anyway, Duke, um, the woman at the gun shop told me um, that I shouldn't shoot it. I should probably just keep it in the box as a collector's item. But hey, Kevin, thanks for joining, brother. How are you? So this I'll put in the chat for you guys. I'd like to know your opinions on this. Yeah. Yep. I agree, Kevin. Well, you know what? YouTube. Yes, we always like to use that cliches about shall not be infringed and Second Amendment, but honestly, it's all bullshit because um, you think we have Second Amendment rights, but depending on the state you live in, we don't. I respect your comments there, CJ. We're all entitled to our opinions. Yet Massachusetts is horrible. Rhode Island, Connecticut is getting bad now. Um, Obviously, Illinois and Chicago and New Jersey. Yeah, that's kind of my thought there, Duke. I mean, um, it's not going to ever be worth, thousands. Um, and I think even if you shoot it lightly, it's really not going to lose any value. Matter of fact, I just ordered, and I need to go pick them up later. Three, I got a 3 packet of rotary magazines. Um, that is not true, Kevin. Um, Now, federal law does trump state law. And that is why the Supreme Court now, they didn't set a date, but the Supreme Court is going to hear on whether states have the power to create their own um, AR 15 bans. Um, Another thing, so this is the other argument is that when it comes to magazines, the state's view is that magazines are accessories, but the Supreme Court's feeling is that magazines are part of the firearm. You can't fire the gun without it. But fortunately, we have been getting some Second Amendment victories, which makes me cautiously optimistic, right? You have states like California that are banning all Glocks. The Supreme Court is supposed to hear about that too, because you can't take a company's entire product line and say you can't sell them in our state. But again, even if the Supreme Court rules and it's nationwide, the liberal states are just not going to adhere to it. They're just not. They don't care if they get sued. Hey, Duke, thanks for joining. Have a safe trip down there to North Carolina. Hope you get everything straightened out, brother. Again, thanks for all your help. And I will be reviewing that soon, maybe tomorrow. But it's funny. Like I said, I'm not really a fan of long guns, and I'm really not a fan of the 22. But when I saw the engraving on that 250th anniversary, I actually got excited about it. Well, that's exactly my point, Kevin, is that these liberal states make up their own rules, and nobody's doing a damn thing about it. Now, Illinois, in Chicago, the mayor of Chicago now has signed an executive order controlling what firearms can be purchased for the police department, because they have a hard-on for Glock. I agree with you, YouTube. I mean, the problem is that when there's a ruling and the liberal states don't adhere to it, they're going to arrest you. You're going to have to spend money on a lawyer to get the case thrown out when it should have never come to that in the first place. Like this bullshit in New Jersey. We've lived in New Jersey our entire life. And I remember this was before Governor Florio. This mag restriction has been going on for 34 years, going back and forth between the courts and appeals. And now the Third Circuit that ruled that an AR ban and mag restrictions are a violation of the Second Amendment. As a matter of fact, the judge who wrote that up was a Joe Biden appointee. And I have to give the woman credit for being a liberal judge, that she did her job and didn't let her political affiliation cloud her decision. And they make such a big deal about these Glock switches, right? It's nothing new. 30 years ago, you used to be able to buy auto sears for AR-15s and 1911s in the mail order catalog. I mean, they're not anything new. But this stupid nonsense with the Glock switches, how many people do you actually think were killed with a gun that had a Glock switch? I'm betting none. Matter of fact, if the bad guys are going to carry a gun, I would rather them have a gun with a Glock switch. They're not going to be able to hit anything, and in about a second and a half, they'll be out of ammo. So, I see we have a bunch of new people on the stream, and we're happy about that. If you like what we do here, we do this stream every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern and every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. There is no formal agenda. We discuss firearms, accessories, and topics. We share ideas and information. Sometimes you may be interested in buying a gun because you're all excited about it, and somebody may give you their experience that may change your mind, or you may just want information that you don't know. Like I always say, we don't all know everything, but we all know something. So everybody does contribute. And this is a great group we have here. It's a pretty loyal following. We have a lot of the same people on this stream Wednesday and Saturday, and they do a great job answering other people's questions, especially new gun owners. We encourage questions, and we will get the answers for you. And there's no such thing as a stupid question, so please don't anybody feel ashamed or embarrassed to ask a question. All right, guys, so I'm going to leave this part of the stream up to you. If you have any comments or statements you want to make or discuss, type them in the chat there, and we'll get to them. And what they really have to do also is they ruled that carrying a firearm at a post office was legal, but it was only for the people named in the lawsuit. So even though they ruled that it was unconstitutional to ban carrying firearms at the post office, it doesn't apply to the rest of the population. It was only the people named in that lawsuit. But still, when it comes to the Second Amendment, a win is a win. Just like the win in Hawaii, where you were not allowed to carry a firearm on private property, which included malls and stores and etc. And that was ruled unconstitutional. So, we'll take any win there we can get, but we need more of these to be ruled by the Supreme Court instead of individual states being able to just make up nonsense. All right, I have a question for all of you guys here. All right, what is your favorite defense ammo? Now, again, in some states, like the communist state of New Jersey, the only hollow points you're allowed to have are the Hornady critical defense, because it does have polymer inside. It's not a true hollow point. I use Sig Sauer. I use Black Talon. I use Federal Punch. and I do use Hornady Critical Duty. I'm just curious what you guys use, or if there's other defensive ammo that I should try. And don't be shy, guys. Type in, you know, anything that comes to mind, as long as it's Second Amendment related, firearms related. We do this for you guys. I haven't seen Jib Jab on the stream in a while, and Ozzy Osbourne hasn't been on today. I have a bunch of new products that came in to review. I have a Tech Nation magnetic gun mount. I have another one coming in from Stinger. And I don't know whether YouTube is lagging or it's my internet connection, but I'm not seeing any activity as far as questions go. Somebody just, Mike, if you're still there, or Kevin, just type something in, because I don't know if the stream is even working right now. There we go. Yeah, I don't get that, Kevin. I don't even know how it got to. She just made up that 30-day waiting period. Thanks, AG, for letting me know. Yeah, Mike, it was lagging here too. I just thought it was strange. I didn't see any comments in here for a while. And thanks for that there, Mark. Yeah, I like the Federal Punch, and I do use Critical Duty, but I just get curious to try something else. Um, I have a boatload of Black Talon that was only available for law enforcement at one time. A friend of mine that's a police officer in Dallas gave it to me. Um, they still make it, but I believe they changed the name, and it's now called Winchester Ranger. Yeah, thank you for sharing about that, Kevin, because I would encourage everybody to share what the gun laws are like in their state, because um, we've been in Tennessee now for almost 8 years, and it's funny because we came from the communist state of New Germany, where you couldn't buy or do anything, and now in Tennessee, where we have no restrictions, we're here 7 years, and we already take it for granted that there's no waiting period. You go in, you're in and out of there in 5 minutes. We don't even go through the NICS system. Tennessee opted out of that. We have our own tick system, and there's no purchase permits. There's no firearms ID card. There's no carry permits, and you just take it for granted sometimes how good you have it, and then you hear from people like Kevin about New York, and Duke from New Jersey, and Ozzy Osbourne from Illinois. Yeah, that's always a problem there, Kevin, is getting a spouse to move. Yeah, same thing here, YouTube. In Tennessee, there is no background check on third party sales. So I could buy a gun in the store and walk out and sell it to you in the parking lot. And it's not a brand new gun anymore. Yep, I agree with you there. Suppress life and welcome. Um, when we moved here, um, I told my wife she can go back to New Jersey anytime she wants, but I'm not going back. Um, I have my gun rights here. I'm not going any state that I can't carry my firearm. Um, when we go on vacation, we strategically pick places you're allowed to carry. Um, that's a good question, Kevin. Um, no, if I order a gun online, it still needs to go to an FFL. Um, but see, in New Jersey, in order to purchase a pistol, you needed a pistol purchase permit. And even if you were selling a used gun, um, you still needed for them to apply for a pistol permit. Um, in Tennessee, when you buy a long gun or a pistol, um, if it's brand new, they run a background check, but there is no background check on third party sales. And there's Jib Jab. Glad you got the morning off, brother, and we missed you out here. It's good to see you again. Don't know if you're aware of the uh, Cult Delta Elite I got there, Jib Jab. Now that's surprising there, Mark, and I'm glad you shared that in Vermont. I thought that Vermont you didn't need a permit, um, and I'm surprised that they even have restrictions. I mean, here in Tennessee, you can shoot, drum magazine. We have literally zero firearm restrictions here. Um, you know, I'm just shocked that they have any in Vermont. Jib Jab, I just picked up today the Ruger 1022 250th anniversary rifle. Uh, what an absolutely gorgeous job they did. Um, yeah, I fired that Delta Elite a week or two ago. It's awesome. No, he did not say you needed a permit in Vermont. I'm just shocked that Vermont has magazine restrictions. I know that you know they don't have permits there, and anybody can carry. Um, so with that being the case, I don't know why they need magazine restrictions. See, this is that 1022 is a classic, and I'll be honest with you, Jib Jab. Um, it was hard to get excited about a 22, but when I saw the 250th anniversary, and I saw that gorgeous engraving on the walnut stock, I had to have it. Um, see, I I don't understand why there are magazine restrictions. If the state issues carry permits and they require training and they deem you competent and capable, and they issue you a permit to carry, then it shouldn't really matter how many rounds you have, right? Um, if you're competent and they deemed you competent to carry, why are there any restrictions? So, what does that mean? They arbitrarily make up a number. So then what they're saying is that if you have a 10 round restriction like New Jersey, they're basically saying that 10 casualties is acceptable, but 15 is too many. That's the only possible answer you could have for magazine restrictions, right? If you're deemed competent and capable uh, to carry a firearm, but they're telling you you can only have X amount of rounds, then they decided that X amount of people is an acceptable casualty. And that's just stupid that they arbitrarily make up a number. And the biggest problem you have is that um, these lawmakers know nothing about firearms and they're making up gun laws. Um, that lunatic governor in New York now that's trying to ban 3D printers. How many people, seriously, how many people do you actually think are getting killed by a gun that was printed on a 3D printer? Really? Do you really think guns printed on a 3D printer were used in any mass shootings? Hey, Ward, thanks for that info on Washington State. Yeah, well, that's the problem, Kevin. The politicians lie and they make up nonsense to scare people, and it's got nothing to do with safety because it's already proven that more gun laws do not reduce gun violence, right? Um, the bad guys are still going to have their high capacity magazines. The bad guys are still going to have their illegal guns. Yes, suppressed style. That I was actually just talking about that. Um, the Supreme Court agreed to hear cases to determine whether states have the right to ban AR-15s. Um, and we need the Supreme Court uh, to rule on these things because the states are just making up their own rules. Yeah, that's a good point there. You do. We should ban politicians. The problem is you can't trust any of them on either side. Yeah, you know the problem. New York is kind of unique, right? Not only is the governor a lunatic, the mayor, I don't see how people elected that lunatic as a mayor. That guy's a mental patient. The guy never had a job. He worked for his mother. He never had a job before. And he gets elected mayor. Go figure. Hey, what up? Well, you know what? America's not going to do anything about gun control. The liberals keep trying to take it away, but we are getting our wins lately. Um, and a win is a win. Um, under the Biden administration, we were losing more and more and more rights. And now it seems like um, the courts are ruling in our favor now. Hey, Chris, your mommy's calling you. Go back in mommy's basement. Bye bye. Yeah, I agree with that there, Paige. Um, Voting doesn't really matter, especially when we know how corrupt it is. Like, look at New Jersey. Um, they already uncovered how corrupt voting is and how many illegals have voted in New Jersey. So, yeah, going out and voting. Um, and there's no way that Governor Mickey in New Jersey won by 400 and something thousand votes. I agree with you there, YouTube. Yep, I agree, Kevin. Hey, Kevin, what is the mag restriction in New York? Is it 7 rounds? Yeah, I got to tell you, Mark, I am concerned about the midterms, especially, if the gas prices don't come down, they're going to blame the Trump administration. Um, yes, I'm absolutely convinced Trump won the 2020 election. New Jersey alone, Governor Murphy allowed people in jail uh, to vote, which is illegal. And I'm sorry, Kevin, that was a rhetorical question. The magazine capacity in New York is 7 rounds. Sorry about that. Also, during the 2020 election, how did they find 400,000 ballots just for Joe Biden in the Philadelphia post office at 3 in the morning? That's a great point there, Jib Jab. Yes, Biden was definitely cheated into office. We all know that. I mean, New Jersey, they just uncovered this uh, a few days ago. And now in New Jersey, they already have proof that 75,000 illegals were called to jury duty. But like Jib Jab said, sheriffs are actually one of the most important. Um, the lunatic governor in New York made a stupid statement the other day. She ordered all the sheriffs in the state of New York not to cooperate with ICE. But what that dumbass doesn't realize is that the sheriffs do not report to the governor. Um, the sheriff is an elected official that only reports to his constituents. So she did not have the authority to even say that. That's interesting, AG. I could have sworn that they made 7 round restrictions on pistols in New York. Yeah, DAs are they're important too. I mean, in a lot of these liberal states, um, especially California, where they have no cash bail, how many times? I mean, what are they not getting? How many times do you read every freaking day that an illegal that was deported 10 times came back and killed somebody? Or the other day, uh, someone was let out of prison and an hour later committed murder. What are they not getting? Again, we have a lot of new people on this stream, and we appreciate that. That gives us more to discuss and um, more topics to talk about, which is great. Um, we do this live stream every Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock Eastern, and every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern. So if you're interested in this and it's something you like, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and you'll be notified when we have a stream or when new videos are released. We have almost 1,000 videos out there. Oh, yeah, thanks for asking there, Jib Jab. Yes, as an NRA pistol instructor, the last certification that I did not have was personal protection outside the home. And I took that class and it was awesome. If I could recommend to anyone to take a training class, I would highly recommend taking the NRA personal protection outside the home class. It changes your whole way of training. You will never go to the range and train the same way again. And that's when you realize that there's a difference between shooting and training. And before I took that class, I went to the range and I really was shooting. And now I go to the range and I train. There's so many things that you need to take into consideration when you're carrying a firearm, shooting from cover and concealment, uh, you know, shooting in the dark. And we practiced all that stuff. Shooting at 3 feet away. Sometimes you're not going to have room to extend your arms and shoot. So you need to be able to draw from a pistol and shoot from the hip. The personal protection outside the home is just fantastic because when you go to the range and you're shooting at paper, you're not going to be standing head on against your target. You're going to be moving, your target's going to be moving, while the personal protection outside the home is just for that. It's training for the real world when you're outside your home. We practiced shooting from sitting in a chair and sitting on a bench so that you might be in church or you may be in a doctor's office. You need to be able to shoot sitting down. You're not always going to be standing. I think it does change with the drill there, Jib Jab. And also, when you take the personal protection outside the home, I like what they do. The targets are basically almost like a paper plate. You just have the outline of the big circle. There are no circles and numbers on them. And that's because in defensive shooting, you shoot center mass. That's all you care about. And I would rather have my students have a tight group in one spot on their target than one bullseye and 14 splattered all over the target. The other thing they made us do, besides shooting one-handed, is shoot weak-handed. I don't see anybody do that at the range, be honest with you. And besides being an instructor and a range safety officer, I observe a lot of people at the range. I never see anybody shoot weak-handed. They all do the same thing. They draw from the holster and they bang, 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 bang like they're in a hurry. They don't even do the, when you take the defensive shooting, you go through your mechanics and then you assess and you scan, right? I never see anybody do that at the range. They shoot and they right away slam their gun into their holster without checking left and right to see if a threat still exists. And I understand that now because prior to taking the personal protection outside the home, I did a lot of those same things. You have a different mindset when you go to the range and you're just shooting a paper target. Um, you're not really thinking in a defensive mindset because you go there and you blow through 200 rounds. Well, what makes you a good shooter is not how many rounds you shoot, it's the quality of your training. And that's where the dry fire training comes in. Um, you need to train smarter. It's not about shooting 500 rounds. If you shoot 500 rounds like crap, it doesn't matter that you go to the range every week and you shoot 500 rounds like crap. You dry fire train and you practice quality reps. Yes, shotgun training is good too, Mark, and rifle as well. But yeah, like I said, I've taken hundreds of hours of defensive training. But if I could only recommend one thing for everyone to take would be the personal protection outside the home. It's a lot different when you're out and about and you're carrying versus your own home, right? I mean, when you're in your own home, you know where you can run for cover or where there's concealment. You know the layout of your home. It's a whole different ball game when you're out in a strange town, maybe a dark parking lot. You were never in there before. And we did train to shoot in the dark. You'll train to, if you're in the parking lot, walk with your back towards the wall so that they can't come up behind you. You're just never going to think of these things when you just go into the range shooting paper. So, and it is all about personal awareness. There's no personal awareness at the range. You put your target up, you stand there, and you big deal, right? I've never ever seen anybody at the range look left and right before and after they fire to assess and make sure there's not additional threats. They don't shoot weak hand. I don't even see them do mag changes. And in the personal protection outside the home class, what was a great exercise that our teacher made us do was, for instance, put 4 rounds in your firearm, in your magazine, and they would tell you to shoot 3 rounds, okay? And you would do that. Then they would tell you to shoot 3 more rounds because they know they only told you to put 4 rounds in the magazine, right? And you're not keeping track. And you'll get a bang, click. Ah, crap. Well, it's your responsibility to know how many rounds are there. And if they tell you to put 4 rounds in, and the first instruction is to shoot 3 rounds, and the second instruction is to shoot 3 more, you should know there's only 1 in there. And what you should be doing is bang, drop, put a new mag in, and shoot 2 more. That's something you have to train. Most people only reload because they have to. And that's because they ran out of ammo. Now, if it were me, after doing that, I would reload because I want to. If I knew I had a 15-round magazine and I knew I shot 5 or 6 rounds, I may dump the mag and put a new 15-round mag in so I don't have to worry about it. like I said, if it were me, I would change mags because I want to, not because I have to because I ran out of ammo. And Cool Wizard, thanks for joining from Canada. Sorry you joined late. We are actually ending this stream in 1 minute. But we do this stream every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern, every Saturday at 12 noon. Please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. This way you'll know when we're doing our streams. Sorry about that there, Cool Wizard, but thanks for joining anyway. Yeah, Jib Jab, I got to tell you, even as an instructor, when I took that personal protection outside the home, I found out how many things I was bad at because you just don't ever practice those things. And a lot of those things you can't practice at the range. Some ranges don't even allow you to practice shooting from a holster, let alone, sitting in a park bench or at a chair, practicing shooting from behind the, cover like the edge of a building that we got to do on the outside the home class, keeping track of how many rounds you fired, shooting strong and weak hand, and not only that, transferring the gun. You may be starting off strong hand, and for some reason you need to fight. Well, I'm going to fight with my strong hand, not my weak hand, right? And you need to learn how to transfer from your strong hand to your weak hand so you can fight with the strong hand. There's just so many things that I learned that were invaluable that I think everybody, put it this way, if your state requires training to get a carry permit, that training does not qualify you for carrying out in the street. Absolutely not. And I learned when I took that class how much I did not know when it came to walking out and about. So anyway, I hope this information was useful. I can't stress enough. You should all go out and Google NRA personal protection outside the home. I took the student class and the instructor class, so I can now teach that class to my students. Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate the loyalty and the camaraderie between us, and I look forward to doing this every week. So hope you all have a blessed day. Thanks for joining.